My 16-year-old son asked me to walk him down the aisle at his school's father-son dance after his dad abandoned us. I wore a suit and tie, and when they called his dad's name, my son said, "This is my father." The entire room went silent. Brian left on Owen's 8th birthday. I remember because we'd spent the entire afternoon at Chuck E. Cheese with 12 screaming kids hopped up on pizza and cake. Owen had wanted a superhero theme, so I'd made little capes for all the guests and bought decorations that said Owen's Super 8th birthday. Brian had spent the whole party on his phone, standing in the corner near the prize counter, barely participating. When the last guest left around 7 p.m., I started cleaning up wrapping paper and half-eaten cake while Owen played with his new Lego set in the living room. Brian said he was going to lie down. He had a headache from all the noise. At 8:30, I went to check on him. The bedroom was empty. His side of the closet was empty. His dresser drawers hung open, cleared out. There was a note on the nightstand. "I can't do this anymore. I'm not built for family life. I'm sorry." That was it, 12 words, 8 years of marriage, one son who worshipped him. Gone. I checked our bank account on my phone, hands shaking so badly I could barely type the password. Our joint savings account had held $36,000 that morning, money we'd been saving for a down payment on a house. Now it showed $1,200. He'd taken everything except what he legally had to leave me. I sat on the edge of our bed for 20 minutes, staring at the note, trying to process what was happening. Owen called from the living room asking if he could stay up an extra 30 minutes because it was his birthday. I told him yes, my voice sounding like it belonged to someone else. When I finally got Owen to bed, he asked where Daddy was. I told him Daddy had to go help Grandpa with something, that he'd be back soon. The lie tasted like metal. I spent that night making phone calls. Brian's cell went straight to voicemail. His parents hadn't heard from him. His brother didn't answer. I finally left a message with his office voicemail saying there was a family emergency and to please call me back. The next morning, I called Brian's office directly. His supervisor told me Brian had resigned 2 weeks ago, given his notice, worked his last day on Friday. They thought he was moving for another job opportunity. He'd been planning this for at least 2 weeks, maybe longer. Owen found out gradually over the next few days. I kept saying Daddy was away on a trip, but by the 4th day, Owen looked at me with those serious 8-year-old eyes and asked, "Is Daddy coming back?" I knelt down to his eye level, trying to figure out how to explain that his father had chosen to leave. "I don't know, baby. Daddy's figuring some things out right now. Did I do something wrong?" "No, Owen, no, this isn't about you at all." His face crumpled. "Then why did he leave?" "Because sometimes grown-ups make really bad choices, and this is Daddy's bad choice, not yours." He cried for a long time. I held him on the couch, feeling like my chest was being crushed, trying to be strong when I wanted to fall apart myself. Brian sent one text 3 weeks later. "I need space. Don't contact me." I replied, "Owen needs to hear from you." "He thinks you left because of him?" No response. I tried calling over the next month. The number was disconnected. I sent emails to his personal account. They bounced back. I even drove to his parents' house, but they said they didn't know where he was and shut the door in my face. He'd simply erased us. Those first few months were survival mode. I was working full-time as an office manager at a dental practice, barely making enough to cover rent and groceries after Brian cleaned out our savings. I applied for every assistance program I could find. Food stamps, energy assistance, free lunch program at Owen's school. The hardest part was watching Owen change. He became quiet, withdrawn. His teacher called to say he wasn't turning in homework, that he'd stopped raising his hand in class, that she'd found him sitting alone during recess, not playing with the other kids. I took him to a child therapist. Dr. Patricia Lynn specialized in kids dealing with parental abandonment. Owen went every Thursday after school for 18 months. "He's going to need you to be consistent," Dr. Lynn told me after one of his sessions. "Kids who lose a parent, even through abandonment, need to know the other parent isn't going anywhere. He'll test you, push boundaries. It's his way of asking if you'll leave too." She was right. Owen tested me constantly that first year, refusing to do homework, talking back, breaking curfew. Every time I had to discipline him, he'd yell that I was being unfair, that Dad would have let him do whatever he wanted. I wanted to scream that Dad wasn't there, that Dad had chosen to leave, but I didn't. I stayed calm, enforced the rules, showed up. Again and again and again. Slowly, over months, Owen started to believe I wasn't going anywhere. When Owen turned 9, he came to me looking embarrassed. "Mom, I have an awards ceremony at school next week. Can you teach me how to tie a tie?" I'd never tied a tie in my life. Brian had always done his own. We sat on the couch with my laptop, watching YouTube tutorials. It took us 47 minutes and 6 attempts before Owen's tie looked somewhat presentable. He wore it proudly to the ceremony, even though it was slightly crooked. A few months later, Owen's friend Marcus invited him to play catch at the park. Owen looked at me, uncomfortable. I don't really know how to throw a football. Dad was supposed to teach me, but... So I learned. We went to the park every Saturday morning. I threw terrible spirals that hurt my arm for days, but eventually, Owen got the hang of it. Eventually, he could throw better than I could catch. At 10, Owen joined Cub Scouts. I was the only mom at the father-son campout. Some of the dads made comments, asked where my husband was. I said he wasn't in the picture. They stopped asking after that. I learned to build a fire, to set up a tent, to tie knots I'd never heard of. I showed up to every meeting, every event, every camping trip. When Owen turned 12, he started asking harder questions. Why did Dad leave? Was it really not about me? We were in the car, driving home from soccer practice. I gripped the steering wheel. No, baby. It was because he couldn't handle the responsibility of being a father. Some people aren't built for it. That's about him, not you. Do you think he ever thinks about me? I don't know, maybe. But whether he thinks about you doesn't change who you are or what you're worth. Owen stared out the window. I used to think that if I was better at sports, or got better grades, or was funnier, maybe he'd come back. But he's not coming back, is he? My throat closed. Probably not, baby. Okay. His voice was small, resigned. Okay. When Owen turned 13, he needed to shave for the first time. Patchy stubble on his upper lip that he was self-conscious about. He stood in the bathroom doorway, holding a disposable razor, looking lost. I don't know how to do this. I didn't either, but I pulled up another YouTube video. We stood side by side at the sink, and I talked him through it step by step. Thanks, Mom. He wiped his face with a towel. I wish you didn't have to do the dad stuff too. I don't mind doing it. I just wish I didn't have to do it alone. He hugged me, first real hug in months. Teenage boys don't hug their mothers much, but that day, he did. At 14, Owen started driver's ed. I took him to empty parking lots on weekends to practice. At 15, he got his learner's permit. At 16, he came home from school with a bright orange flyer. I was making dinner, stirring pasta sauce when he dropped it on the counter. Father-son dance, a night to remember, March 21st at 7 p.m. I glanced at it. That sounds nice. Owen shrugged. Yeah, I'm not going though. Why not? Because I don't have a dad to take me, obviously. He said it casually, but I heard the hurt underneath. You could ask your Uncle Tom, I suggested. My brother had always been good with Owen. Uncle Tom's taking Marcus. I'm not tagging along like some charity case. He threw the flyer in the trash and went to his room. I stood there watching the pasta water boil, feeling like someone had reached into my chest and squeezed. Owen had missed so many father-son events over the years. He'd learned to pretend it didn't matter. But he wasn't fine. He was a 16-year-old kid who wanted to go to a dance, and his dad was somewhere else, living a life that didn't include him. That night, I heard crying from Owen's room. Quiet, muffled crying, like he was trying to hide it. I stood outside his door for 5 minutes, debating whether to go in. I knocked softly. Owen, can I come in? I'm fine, Mom. I know, can I come in anyway? Silence. Then, yeah. He was sitting on his bed, the orange flyer crumpled in his hand. His eyes were red. It's stupid, he said. I'm too old to care about this stuff. It's not stupid to want normal things. All my friends are going. Marcus, Tyler, Jadden, they all have dads. Even the kids whose parents are divorced still have their dads. I know. Why doesn't he want to know me? What's wrong with me? Owen. I turned to face him. There is nothing wrong with you. Do you hear me? Nothing. Your father leaving had everything to do with his inability to handle responsibility and nothing to do with your worth. Then why does it still hurt? Because you're human, and what he did was terrible. We sat in silence. Then, without thinking it through, I said, what if I took you? Owen looked at me like I'd suggested something impossible. What? To the dance. What if I took you? Mom, it's a father-son dance. I know what it is. You're not a dad. No, but I've been doing the dad job for 8 years. I taught you to tie a tie, to throw a football, to shave, to drive. I've been to every game, every concert, every parent night. So what if I'm not a father? I've been filling that role anyway. Owen stared at me. People would think it's weird. Maybe, or maybe they'd understand. What would you even wear? A suit, I guess. Isn't that what dads wear to these things? You'd really do that. Owen, I'd wear a clown costume if that's what it took. A suit is easy. The smallest smile crossed his face. That would be so embarrassing. The suit or the clown costume? Both, but he didn't say no. I went to Men's Warehouse the next Saturday while Owen was at basketball practice. A young sales associate approached. Can I help you find something? I need a suit for myself, for my son's father-son dance. Understanding crossed his face. That's really cool, actually. Let's find you something sharp. He measured me, brought out options. I chose charcoal gray because it felt the most formal. When I got home and tried it on, Owen was in the hallway. He stared. Mom, you don't have to do this. I know. Seriously. I can just skip it. It is a big deal, and I want to be there with you. His eyes got glassy. What if people say mean things? Then we'll ignore them. Okay, yeah, okay. The night of the dance, we parked in the school lot at 6:55. Neither of us moved to get out. Last chance to back out, Owen said. Do you want to back out? No, do you? Not a chance. We walked toward the entrance. Other fathers and sons were arriving. Men in suits, teenage boys in button-downs and ties, everyone looking comfortable and normal. We stepped inside. The gymnasium was warm, already filling with people. And every single person turned to look at us. I felt Owen tense beside me. Felt the weight of all those stares, some curious, some confused, some judgmental. A man near the door whispered to the person next to him. Owen's face flushed. Mom, head up, I whispered. We belong here. We walked further in, more stares, more whispers. Is that a woman? Where's his father? Owen looked like he wanted to disappear. I reached for his hand and squeezed it. That's when Marcus appeared with his dad, David. Dude. Marcus looked at me, then at Owen. Your mom looks awesome. Owen's shoulders dropped slightly. Yeah, man. That suit is sharp. David extended his hand to me. Rebecca, good to see you. I think what you're doing is really great. Other people were still staring, but the room started moving again. People returned to their conversations. The DJ announced the first dance, a slow song. Fathers and sons scattered across the gym floor. I turned to Owen. May I have this dance? He rolled his eyes. You're so embarrassing. That's my job, so is that a yes? Yeah, okay. We moved to the dance floor. Owen was taller than me now. I had to look up to meet his eyes. Thank you, Owen said quietly, for doing this. You don't have to thank me. Yeah, I do. You didn't have to come here. You didn't have to be both parents. But you did. You always do. My throat got tight. You're my son. I'd do anything for you. I know. That's why you're my dad. Not Brian. You. The DJ made an announcement about an hour into the dance. All right, everyone, it's time for our annual father-son recognition. When I call your son's name, both of you stand together. He started calling names alphabetically. Pear stood, got applause, sat back down. Owen's name was coming. Owen Mitchell and Brian Mitchell. Owen stood immediately, pulled me up with him. The DJ paused, looking at his list. Sorry, is there a mistake? I have Brian Mitchell listed. Owen's voice rang out clear. This is my father. Her name is Rebecca Mitchell. The room went completely silent. No music, no conversation, just dead silence. Every face turned toward us. Owen and I stood there, hand in hand, while hundreds of people stared. Then, from across the room, David started clapping. Slow, deliberate claps that echoed in the silence. Marcus joined him, then the principal, then another father. Within seconds, the entire gymnasium was standing, applauding. Some people had tears on their faces. Owen looked at me, his eyes wet. I meant it, Mom. I know, baby. The applause continued for what felt like forever. When it finally died down and we sat, my hands were shaking. Owen kept hold of one of them. The rest of the evening passed in a blur. People kept approaching us, thanking me, sharing their own stories, asking to take photos. When the dance ended at 10, Owen and I walked to the parking lot. My feet hurt. My collar felt too tight, but I'd never felt prouder. In the car, Owen pulled out his phone. Someone already posted about us. He showed me a photo of us standing during the recognition moment. The caption, Father-Son Dance 2024. Family is defined by who shows up. Over the next few days, the local newspaper called. They wanted to do a story? I said yes. The article ran the following Tuesday. Mother redefines father-son dance after dad abandons family. It went viral. News outlets picked it up. Social media exploded. My inbox filled with messages from strangers. Owen's English teacher called. Your son wrote his college application essay about the dance. With your permission, I'd like to share it with our department. It's one of the most powerful pieces I've ever read. She sent me a copy. The title, What My Father Taught Me. It started, my father taught me how to throw a football, how to tie a tie, how to shave, how to drive. My father never missed a game, a concert, or a parent night. My father's name is Rebecca Mitchell, and she is my mother. The essay described the dance. The stares, the recognition moment, the standing ovation. It ended, my biological father left when I was 8. He taught me what absence looks like, but my mother taught me what presence looks like. Being a parent isn't about biology, it's about showing up. Every single day. That's the kind of father I want to be someday, the kind who shows up, like my mom. I cried reading it. 2 weeks after the article ran, my phone rang from a number I didn't recognize. Rebecca, it's Brian. I sat down slowly. 8 years, not a single word. What do you want? I saw the article about the dance. I wanted to talk to Owen. Why? Because I'm his father. I made mistakes, but I'm in a better place now. I want another chance. You don't get another chance. You don't walk away for 8 years and then call because you saw something online. I'm still his dad. No, you're not. You're the man who left. Let me talk to him. He deserves. I hung up, blocked the number. When Owen got home, I told him about the call. Dad called? Yes, he wants to talk to you. Owen sat at the kitchen table. What do you think I should do? That's your choice. If you want to talk to him, I'll support you. If you don't, I'll support that too. Owen thought about it for 3 days, then he asked me to set up a meeting. They met at a coffee shop on Saturday. Owen asked me to drop him off but not come in. I sat in the parking lot for 90 minutes. When Owen came out, his face was closed off. In the car, he said, "He's not my father." What happened? He spent the whole time talking about himself, his new girlfriend, his new job. He said leaving was the best thing for him, that he's happier now. He asked if I'd want to meet his girlfriend sometime. What did you say? I said no. I said you're my father, and then I left. Are you okay? Yeah. Because I don't need him anymore. I have you, and that's enough. I pulled over because I was crying too hard to drive. I love you, Mom. I love you too, baby. 3 months later, Owen walked across the graduation stage as valedictorian. His speech was about chosen family, about the parents who stay. When his name was called to receive his diploma, he gestured for me to join him on stage. The audience erupted in applause. Owen and I walked across together. Later that night, after everyone left and Owen was upstairs packing for college, an email notification buzzed on my phone. Subject: full scholarship offer. Owen had been accepted to University of Washington with a full ride. 4 years, everything covered, based on his essay, What My Father Taught Me. I went upstairs, showed him the email. He read it, read it again, then looked at me with the biggest smile. I got in. You got in. He picked me up and spun me around, both of us laughing and crying. You did this, he said. You made this possible. No, baby, you did this. I just showed up. That's all I needed, someone to show up. 4 months later, I helped Owen move into his dorm. When it was time to leave, I cried in front of his roommate. Mom, I'm going to be fine. I know, I'm just proud of you. I'm proud of you too. Someday, when I have kids, I'm going to show up for them the way you showed up for me, every single day. You're going to be an amazing father. I learned from the best. I drove home alone. The house felt too quiet. I stood in Owen's empty doorway, remembering the 8-year-old boy who'd asked where his dad went. The 16-year-old who'd stood in that gymnasium and called me his father. I never wanted to be his father. I wanted him to have a father who stayed. But when that didn't happen, I learned something important. You can be everything your child needs, even when you're afraid you're not enough. Even when you don't know what you're doing. Even when the world thinks you're filling a role you weren't meant to play. Love doesn't fit into neat categories. It just shows up, every day, no matter what. And that's exactly what I did. If this hit you in the feels, subscribe for more stories like this.